Good day and welcome to yet another episode of Woman to Woman with me, Patricia Ngwani, a show where we discuss issues that are of concern to women. We empower, inspire, and enlighten one another. Join us today as we'll be talking healing from past hurts and pain. Statistics show that one out of five of young girls aged around 18 years get raped or molested below the age of 18 years. And it also shows that out of 10, 2 of those cases get reported. And out of that group again, only 1 out of 10 gets medical help. The question is, what happens to the rest of those kids? Today we are discussing healing from past hurts, and I'm joined with a very phenomenal woman, Hanna, Lecha, to discuss this topic as a survivor of rape and also as an advocate of sexual abuse. Hanna, Lecha, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Patricia.
How have you been?
I'm good.
Yeah, today we are talking healing from past hurts and pain, Hanna. And as I was reading your story on social media, I got to understand that you got raped when you were around 12 years old. Can we go through that story? Can you take us through that story?
Okay, thank you, Patricia. Yeah, yes, it is true. I was raped, call it rape or molested by a close family relative at the age of 12, and that was not an easy incident, because back at that time parents were really protective of family, and when you are raped by a prominent member of the society, a prominent member in the family, nobody wants to really discuss that. And yeah, when you start talking about it, everyone thinks you are lying, so they are quick to just keep you quiet and make you not even talk about it. So I lived with that for a very long time. I shared it, partly with my friend back then when I was at senior secondary school. And then I kind of let it, kind of closed it. It wasn't really closed because it was there in my subconscious mind that this is what happened. And it really affected a lot of decisions and things that I made at that time. But I kept quiet about it until after I was married. I think I was 2 years into my marriage. And my husband could see that there was something that was not just, wrong, because I couldn't really open up. I held back. And so he really pushed into what's really happening until I then opened up and told him this is what happened. So that was the first step for me towards my healing, being able to openly tell someone the truth of what actually what actually happened. But that was just a tip of the iceberg of that. I still had to deal with a lot of what happened and what manifested after that.
Yeah, because one of the things that we I don't know if we are ignorant of it or it's something that we just shy away from is, talking about these things, or maybe let me just say silence, doesn't help you as the abused, but it helps the abuser instead. But for some reason, we don't go out to talk about these things. But I do understand when you say that family are always protective of each other. But then as I was reading your story, I picked that at one point you had discussed it with your mother. How was the turnaround of events then?
Yeah, I was young, I was 12, I talked about it, but no one really took me seriously about it. So I had to deal with it. For me, the way I dealt with it at that time was I told myself I was not going to go into that compound again. So I was not going to visit that relative again. So I put myself on that sabbatical, and I made sure that some other young people who were in the family are not going there. So for me, that's what I did. I just removed myself from the situation so that it doesn't happen to me again. So for that period of time, that worked for me because I could remove myself. I was not solving the pain and everything, but I made sure that it's not going to happen to me again. Yeah, it's not going to happen to me.
As I read the story, I picked the part where you wrote that you decided to deal with it on your own, and I was curious to get to know how you dealt with it on your own. But then as you were going through it, were you not feeling like you are running away from the pain other than facing it?
Yeah, it did. I was actually, you can't run away from the pain, you run with it.
Yeah.
It's like you can't run away from it because wherever you go, it's following
right?
you. It's
Yeah.
following. But what I want people to understand is when you are a victim at that time, you don't kind of have a lot of options, especially if you have not been exposed to something like that before. So you are really torn between telling people and also thinking, what are people going to say? And the default is people won't believe you. And when they don't believe you, also you start questioning your integrity. You start questioning your character. You start blaming yourself. Most people blame themselves that, okay, if I have not gone there, if I have not done that.
Had it not been for that moment.
Had it not been for that moment. So you start going through all of those emotions, which are also painful, and making the situation even worse. And that is why the default really is to keep quiet and die inside and find a way of dealing with it until maybe you are ready to actually speak about it. But during our times back then, people didn't talk about things that were happening in their lives, and which is why I decided to just come out and talk about it and pioneer this and say, let's talk about these things, and so that we can help others who are going through them. And for me, coming out was really to help the young people who are coming up, who would not have a platform where they could discuss this with their parents or with other people. So that if we could start talking about it and raising awareness, then we could actually prevent some of these things from happening to them, rather than talking to them after they've been sexually abused or molested. So is to really raise the awareness that this is possible. Anyone can rape you. It doesn't matter who is. It can be your parents. It can be a relative. It could be a cousin. It could be a teacher. It could be a pastor. Anyone. It can happen to anyone. Can do it, and it can even happen to anyone.
Yeah, because I was a bit worried there, because as I was going through the statistics that I just talked about, they had mentioned that 1 out of 10 only get medical treatments. And then the bigger question was, if you can't talk about it, then automatically you can't go for medical treatments on it. Then what happens right after that? Ladies, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back to continue with this amazing conversation that we're having here with Lecha.
Have you heard about Mari TV Black Friday special? Mari TV will be selling ad space at 499 pula per ad play. What are you waiting for? Make your sales known, make your brand stand out. Hurry and get your ad space now. For more information, contact us on these numbers. T's and C's apply.
Unplugged sessions. This show will be happening every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on Maru TV. Make sure that you watch, don't miss. It's a time of music. It's a time where we share ideas of music and enjoy ourselves. Unplugged sessions with Tsapole Sole. You're welcome.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's Women to Women with me, Patricia Ngwane, and we are talking healing from past hurts. And I'm right here with the Mayor Hanna Lecha discussing these issues. She is a survivor of rape. Lecha, right before the break, we talked about my concern. I think something that concerns me so much, because like I mentioned, as I was going through the statistics, I got to figure out, they say 1 out of 10 of these young girls or women that go through rape or being molested, they don't go for, only 1 out of 10 go for medical help or medical treatment. And then the medical help, it might be for the young girls, it might be having to go for medical checkups to see if there's anything that might have actually torn them apart or anything. And then for the older one, that's psychological help. Did you go for any medical help, if I could ask?
Unfortunately, I didn't. At that time, I didn't go to any medical help. So I think nature took its course. So I just healed naturally, I mean in the physical realm. But when it comes to the mind, I only really got help to deal with that when I was 41 years.
But not meaning to interrupt you there. You were only 12.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me like nobody in the family could actually pick that there might be something?
Yeah, actually,
because I'm believing
yeah.
a 12-year-old, there might be some pains that will come with it.
Yeah, actually, a lot of this goes unnoticed because you require parents who are very attentive, who have a very high level of self-awareness to be able to see that you have actually changed. But for most parents, they don't actually pick it at all. So unless you really engage with your kids, you know them and you could pick that they have something that's not right with them. Otherwise, it's going to go unnoticed. And that's what's actually happening in most families. They don't notice it because even if when they notice it and they ask you what's wrong, you're going to say there's nothing wrong. And if they don't push, then there's nothing wrong. So it's going to end there.
So this is not all about pushing on the awareness of young girls and women in terms of rape, but also to the mothers so they could be alert and aware when in case such is happening under their own roof.
Yes, it really goes beyond that. It means really taking time to know your kids, taking time to engage with them, and opening up channels of communications so that when there's something that's going on, they will be free to come to you and actually tell you. Because if the environment is not conducive, they are not going to even tell you. They'll either go and tell a friend who's going to tell another friend.
And all of a sudden is the talk of the town.
Yeah, or they know about it, is their best kept secret, but they're not going to help you move forward, like that. So we are at that level where you really need to know your child. You really need to start communicating with your kids, we didn't do that with our parents when we were young. There was always that big gap between parents and children, and which is one of the reasons why I'm very passionate about young people and really talking to them, because I grew up in an environment where it was rude to talk to parents and ask them questions and like that. So, but I'm saying, let's allow our kids.
Let's open up.
Let's open up. Let's allow our kids. Let's talk to them. Let's share with them some of these things that we have gone through, so that they are aware and they won't repeat the same patterns that we have gone through.
Mistakes we've gone through.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. One of the things that I feel like we have kind of ignored a bit is the fact that some of these traumas that we go through when we are young, they might not physically leave a mark on our bodies, but they have a way of affecting how we view the world around us, and they affect every view of the world around us. So in terms of your story, how do you think this had affected the view of your world around us in terms of your relationship with other people and with men and with family?
Okay, thank you very much for that one. Yeah, and when I look back, I realized that it really did affect me a lot, especially in terms of relationships. And it took me a long time to really commit to relationships, and really, I even never thought that I would get married. And next month I'll be 21 years in marriage.
Ooh, wow.
But those are some of the things that I never thought, because when I saw a man, I just thought like that's someone who's going to hurt you. So for some people, then if they don't address it, it means they are not going to become interested in even having relationships. And then if you do have a relationship, it's going to limit how much open you are able to give if it's in a relationship, how intimate you can actually become, because sometimes that intimacy reminds you of what actually happened to you, and instead of inciting excitement for you, is bringing back old memories, is bringing back pain. So unless you deal with it, it's going to continue just haunting you and really affecting you in every area of your life. So that is something that it does actually change your worldview. You may feel like you don't want to interact with men again. And anyway, when I talk about this, I normally explain that rape and molestation is both ways. From my experience, after I came public about 5 years ago, people who contact me, some are women who have been raped by other women. Some are actually boys who have been raped by other men, or who have been raped by women. So it's either way.
It's either.
Yeah, so it's either way. It's only that it's more prevalent where the men are raping women. But actually there are women who actually rape other women, and women who rape or molest small boys. So it's actually either way. So that is why we have to be very conscious about it. Whether you have got boys in the family, I don't think that boys are not going to be raped or molested, because they are going to be. And boys keep quiet more. They won't talk about it until if they find someone where they're comfortable, but otherwise they will keep it, and it will affect their relationships the same way that it's affecting.
Yeah, I loved how you explained it, because right now I'm thinking, there are other girls out there, other women out there that we have actually put some taglines on them. We've called them all names, because literally somebody has been moving from one relationship to another, can't keep any relationship constant. And then you go to the bottom of the story and you realize this is a person that has been molested, that has been raped. And that line of intimacy brings up memories of what had happened. That's quite profound. Yeah, that's quite profound.
Yeah, actually, from people who have spoken to me, who have confided in me, it works in so many different ways. Some start getting, addicted to being intimate, so that they want a partner now. Whether the partner wants them, but they really need someone in their life.
Like now.
Like now.
So they cling.
So now they cling, or they feel like there should be someone in their life. Whereas some feel like they don't want
anybody.
Yeah, they don't want anybody. So it can go either direction. It depends on how they processed it when it happened, whether they felt like they are no longer worthy, or their worth is attached to another person, and now they need to cling to someone to feel like, to validate their worthiness. So the dynamics are very, very, spread.
This is really profound information that we're having right here. We're gonna go for a short break. We'll be right back after the break to continue with this conversation. Stay tuned.
Have you heard of our Mari TV Black Friday special? Mari TV will be selling ad space at 499 pula per ad play. What are you waiting for? Make your sales known, make your brand stand out. Hurry and get your ad space now. For more information, contact us on these numbers. T's and C's apply.
Unplugged sessions. This show will be happening every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on Maru TV. Make sure that you watch, don't miss. It's a time of music. It's a time where we share ideas of music and enjoy ourselves. Unplugged sessions with Tsapole Sole. You're welcome.
Yes, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's your favorite talk show, Woman to Woman, here with me, Patricia Nkwani. We are discussing healing from past hurts. And yes, I'm not alone as usual. I'm with Hanna Lecha, talking about her experience after surviving or being a survivor of a rape case. Hanna Lecha, later on, when I was mentioning the statistics surrounding this whole issue of rape and molestation, I mentioned that it's often said 2 out of 10 of these cases of these women or girls that get raped, only 2 out of 10 get to report these cases. So the bigger question that one might ask, which I believe that's the thing that's going on in a lot of people's mindset, is why are these cases not being reported? Because a few times back I went through a video where one young lady was talking about how she went to the police to report and it didn't turn out right. So why are these people not going out to report?
Yeah, there are actually many reasons why people don't report. The first one being no one believing that you are telling the truth. You know, whereas if his family, either if it's a close family, they will want to cover it up and start saying they are dealing with it at home. And then that's one of the reasons why then people don't do that. And then secondly, someone comes out and reports that they've been raped or abused, and people start blaming them and saying they are not telling the truth, they are lying. And then they start really blaming the victim instead of helping them.
Yeah.
That's another reason why people don't then eventually go out, because they start now being judged and being labeled. And then the other thing is the system, you know, the support system to just help people who have been raped, starting from going to the police, where our system here, the police are not trained to handle people who have been raped. You know, when you go there, you just see any other officer and they treat you like any other client, because you are a client there, and they don't take into considerations what you have gone through, the sensitivity that comes. And that is where most people are really broken up, when they go to the police and they are being tossed from one pillar, from one corner to another, and then there is that delay until when you get to the hospital, the evidence is already gone, you know, and they can't really help you. And then the other part is society, where we live in a very judgmental society where, you know, opinions are free. They're like, yes, everyone has an opinion, and we toss them around, and some people listen to them so much that they can't tell the difference between what's true and what's just an opinion. So society also then brings that stigma of saying, no, you are lying, that person is a good person. You know, when it comes to rape, you know, rape is rape. Anyone can do it. It doesn't respect race. It doesn't respect class. So it doesn't.
Everybody can.
Yeah, everybody can actually do that. So it's just up to teach society that anyone can do it. Let's stop saying there are people who are more qualified to become rapists or to molest kids than others, because it actually doesn't. Even research has shown that whether it's a pastor, it's a teacher, it's a parent, some kids are even molested by their own parents.
Their own parents.
Yeah, their own parents. So really there are so many reasons, but for us in our country, I think the police has to do something.
To stand up
something about it. What I know in South Africa is that there is a special unit that handles that handles sexual abuse and rape issues. They've been trained and they know how to move people from when they arrive to when they actually finish with them. Yeah. So when I was giving a keynote at the launch of the 16 Days Activism last year in Maung, and I recommended that I think it's high time in Botswana we have a special police unit that handles victims of rape, so that they can help them with that sensitivity that is needed, and the agency, and the agency that is actually required, because I believe we definitely need that.
We really need that. That would be quite an exciting move, because when you are to deal with emotions of a person, it should be treated with sensitivity and with the people that understands, because I believe that's also what's limiting other people from going for counseling, because you would expect somebody who would understand the sensitivities that comes with your emotions. But if you are to sit with a person that really that's not even qualified enough to capture that sensitivity, then it kills every other plan that you had. Yeah, I love the fact that as you were talking, you mentioned the society, which brings me to the question that has been on my mind ever since we started talking. To say, you know, our society has a way of putting expectations on us, more especially on a girl child. What you do, how you do it, how you walk, who you talk to, and sometimes it's not even expected for us to be counted amongst other things. And then my question now is, how are you able to now as a woman to defy the expectations, to say, I've been through this and I'm going to stand still on this society and talk about what I've gone through to help another woman that might be silent but going through this thing?
Thank you for that question, Patricia. It takes grit, it takes courage, it takes determination to be able to do that. For me, I think there are a couple of things that made it possible for me, because I've always been a child who was challenging the norm. I asked very difficult questions from a very early age, and I could stand up for my, for my rights and what I wanted. And when I grew up, that took to when I decided to become an advocate, growing up, then that really fueled it up to a level where I could stand my ground and say my views without fear of who is really going to say that. And that requires a certain level of awareness and mastery, and to be able to transcend the cultural and societal expectation and just stand your ground and say, this is what I stand for. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you are going to say. But this is the stand that I'm taking. That I'm willing to die for. So it really takes quite a lot of courage, a lot of grit
it
to do that. Yeah.
As we are about to wrap up our show, I just want you to share because right now I'm thinking that a lot of women out there that have been raped and all of a sudden turned into very bitter women that can't stand the thought of a man. Some young girls that are actually going through it and they don't know where to turn to. I just want you to share with us a word of motivation, a word of inspiration to a woman that might be thinking that story resonates with me.
Okay, thank you very much for that. To really start with, right now I think it's coming up in Botswana. We are having organizations who support people who have been sexually abused or molested. And the first one that comes to my mind is Women Against Rape. They have an office in Maung, and I think they have one is called Kagisano. I think it's Kagisano Shelter here. And then there is a new one that has been launched recently. I don't think I'm going to get the name, but I think it's an up level of that, because they take you through the whole. There is medication, there is counseling,
the whole process.
Yeah, I think I shared their details on my public page a few months back, because as an advocate I'm looking out for what's out there. So those, at least there are avenues where people could go to, but that's not the issue. The issue is for someone to even come out and think of going there. Yeah, the biggest challenge is really, how do you respond after this has happened to you? And this is where most people are actually stuck. So I normally advise people that, okay, if you are raped, find someone that you are comfortable talking to. And I normally say, if you don't have, I'm here, inbox me. So I would say that. And what I do is then I then refer them to the relevant. To the relevant. But then if you are there and you have been raped, you have been molested, the first step really is to tell someone. The first step is to tell someone, because that's part of the healing. When you start sharing it, you are taking it out of you. You are taking it out of you.
And owning your power back.
And then owning your power back. And then secondly is to not feel like you are part of it or you are not worthy. Actually, that's something that happens once. And it doesn't take away from you. Honestly, it doesn't. It violates you, but it doesn't take.
It doesn't take you.
So you are the one who allows it to take away your power when you dwell too much into what happened and you feel like your worth is linked to what actually happened.
That happened.
And most people who don't even come up is they start feeling like they are dirty, they are not really worthy, and they don't even want to now come out into the open. So find someone that you can tell, get help. Mostly it's easier to tell someone who have gone through the same process, someone who is a survivor of rape. Tell them and then take it to the next level. And if you are parents, start observing your kids when they change in behavior, in the mood. You know, talk to them and find out what's really happening and ask for help.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That was quite a very exciting conversation, Lecha. Thank you so much for joining our show.
You
Thank
are
you
most
so much.
welcome.
Ladies, to wrap up our show, this is what I'm going to say to you. We had quite an exciting conversation with Lecha, but my word of inspiration to you is that a wound that is not treated on the right time eventually begins to rot. And just as you have had her, find somebody to talk to, because the more you open up is the more you gain your power back. But if you keep quiet, your silence doesn't benefit you in any way, but rather it benefits your abuser. So start to open up, start to find means of getting help. That's your process of healing. Thank you so much for watching Woman to Woman. See you on the next episode of Woman to Woman. Bye.